what is up, you guys? My name is Tooties.
I'm Will. What's up, y'all?
All right, so the day has finally come. It's a Thursday. We finally got here to Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. And all I gotta say, you guys are right. It, it, the movie just didn't.
Okay, first of all, we usually try to do non-spoiler and then kind of spoiler on the back end. This movie don't deserve a non-spoiler review. We going straight into spoilers because it's not really much to talk about with this movie. The actors were good. The acting was good. It was terribly paced. I mean, the storyline was okay. I
It needed to be tweaked
it was
a lot.
It was a story, but it wasn't. It's like they ran out of time to tell the story that they kind of wanted to tell. Like it wasn't. It basically, like, this is the first Marvel movie that if you watch the history of the MCU by watching the trailers of Ant-Man, of this third Ant-Man movie, you could have basically called out the from scene to scene to scene of what was going to happen in this movie. Like, I feel like that's, I don't know. Like, it was.
This movie left me the same way Eternals did, because I didn't understand what was the purpose. Like, okay, I can at least say that we know what Kang's situation is leading to. Like, we're leading up to, Kang Dynasty and all of this stuff. And that's great. That's fine. It just was so much going on. Like, a lot of people were talking about the CGI. I can admit at times it was beautiful. Then you have, I think when Scott and Cassie first got down into the quantum realm and he blew up to catch her and shrunk back down and they stood up to look around their surroundings, and I was like, this shit looks like they are in front of a green screen. It's obvious.
Yeah.
And it's like, and that's at the beginning of the movie. So you're like, I'm not really just griping about it too soon. It's a lot going on. Like the quantum realm, I can imagine there's wild plants, weird looking stuff everywhere. So it's a lot. But it just was like, it was so much stuff that just seemed like it wasn't needed at all. And then the way they were shooting it, it's like all the people that were saying it reminds you of Star Wars. It does.
It does.
At the end, it was produced by Lucasfilms, of course. That's why it looks like that. But then there were like certain scenes where I'm like, it kind of reminded me of when Jonathan Majors was on Lovecraft Country. Like when it first come on and he tell the story about the baseball player fighting it. It was kind of like shot like that, and sequences were kind of set up like that too. So I was like, okay, I get y'all are trying to go sci-fi because of what we're talking about. Science, quantum realm, they go hand in hand.
It made sense why this was a Star Warsy type movie. And I'm fine with that.
Yeah, that's not
love
the
Star
problem.
Wars franchise. Like, I have no problem with it. It's just, if you're gonna go that route, you have to make it your own. Like,
don't be a replica.
Look, man,
that like rip off completely.
I don't feel like it was a rip off. I just feel like they
well,
just
not like rip off in that sense.
What sense you mean?
Like what you just said. Like, make it your own. They literally didn't. They copy pasted because of the studio they were working with. It's like y'all didn't have any say so. They were like, okay, well, we'll take over. We know what to do. We're just gonna Star Wars it out.
Yeah, I mean, it was heavily. You can tell it was heavily influenced by Star Wars. But I think my biggest gripe with Marvel right now is that before this movie, everybody was talking, we need direction, we need direction, we need direction. Well, you got direction in this movie. You know exactly where this is headed. And as big as a Jonathan Majors fan as I am, and how incredibly talented I think that man is, he can't save this. He can't. Like, as good as an actor as he is, he can't save what Marvel. Like, we talked about this in the ride back home. I don't think Marvel has any idea what they're doing. I don't. I think that they're lost. I think that they found a great actor and somewhat of a big villain in the comics,
And they're just clinging to
they're
him.
clinging to him. And I get it. Based on Kang's character in the comics, it's multiple versions of him. It's multiple variations of him. He's very powerful. He can manipulate time, and I understand that. But it's not so far, with this first chance, technically second chance of them bringing one of his variants on screen, it hasn't translated well. I feel like He Who Remains, the way they did him, translated very well. Maybe that was because of the space they had with Loki being a TV show to be able to shoot it in that way, to bring him out in a way that felt more well-rounded. This just felt rushed. Like, this felt...
I feel like they feel like with the Loki series, they did their just due of kind of drawing out He Who Remains, Kang's character, and that's not the case here. The TV show and what's going on with the movie is completely separate to me, because we literally didn't get introduced to He Who Remains until the last episode of Loki. So there's still a lot of plot and story to tell in between that time before you just rush in everything that Kang is.
Yeah.
And I know Marvel, they do listen to a lot of reviews, because I do remember when Thanos was being brought about, people were complaining about how long it was taking for him to come on screen. But that is why Thanos is the better villain right now, because it's more of a menacing effect. Kang is brutal in the cerebral sense. It's like you kill him, but he's coming back every time, and you haven't gotten.
Kang is menacing, and he's brutal for his own purpose. What made Thanos what he was doing it ironically, for what he felt was the greater good. It wasn't selfish. Even though it wasn't selfish.
I mean, but they all do it for their own purpose. Like, that is the point of these villains. And honestly, in like watching Kang talk about cutting down all the timelines that he went on when him and Janet were discussing what they were saying, I kind of started... Marvel has a really good way of making you understand the villain's plight. Because if by TVA law, there's only supposed to be one timeline, no branches. He's literally only going in and destroying the branches. From what I was understanding, forgive me, y'all, I was kind of dozing off. It wasn't because the movie was boring, which it was getting to certain points. I just was tired, but he's literally going in and destroying, and that's what they're picking at to keep up with their villain narrative, to make you kind of understand where the villain is coming from. He's literally going in and only destroying the branches of where his people are. Now, granted, he may at the very end want to fix the entire timeline, the one timeline, after he knocks down each one.
I think that Kang variant in this movie wanted to create his own timeline. He wanted to create his own singular timelines where he, just like how he Who Remains created his own timeline where he was in control, Kang wanted to, this version of Kang, I feel like, wanted to create his own one single timeline.
We're saying the same thing.
Yeah, so I don't know, man. Like I say, the actors, everybody did good acting wise. Like Paul Rudd is Ant-Man.
Paul Rudd.
Like, everybody did. We seen more hope in this movie.
We did not need MODOK at all. For what? MODOK was put in this movie. Through the trailers, they made MODOK seem like he was a threat. When you watch this movie, MODOK was comic relief at best. Yeah. It was, you were either going to make him, either not have him in the movie at all, or make him more of a threat.
Yeah. Like I told her, I kind of, with this being an Ant-Man movie, and I get you wanted to bring Kang in and start to developing him as the big bad, but I kind of would have rather this, being you could have made MODOK the villain and just sprinkled in Kang towards the end, and then, kind of a post-credit scene about, Kang and,
him escaping.
Yeah, like something like that, man. I don't know. I don't know. Like, I really wasn't expecting... I was expecting a lot with this movie. It was a lot but it wasn't any. It was a
fulfilling.
I hate to say this, but it was basically a whole lot of nothing to me. It was a whole lot of
noise in a can.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I
My
don't know.
my biggest gripe with this movie is what the best part of this movie is, and that's Jonathan Majors. I love Jonathan Majors as well. He's like the top actor right now. The man's range, like we're talking about how many times we saw those different Kang variants, but to play that many different Kang variants and to show.
Hey, you talking about the post-credit scene?
Well, I'm getting to that, but it's just, it kind of ties into seeing He Who Remains, Shakespearean guy, bubbly, then seeing Kang. I like the choices that he made in both characters. And then to go on to see even more, I like the choices that he made to even show, to make it, be different Kangs. But seeing him so much, I think, is probably what's hurting this movie.
Yeah.
Because every time I'm hearing reviews, it's like, Jonathan Majors was the best part. And some people have kind of paused on that part. It's because we're seeing him too much. I miss the days where, and it's no comparison. I'm not trying to compare these people, but this is just an example. Chris Evans, I didn't see him do too many of other movies while he was playing Captain America. Like, he did stuff on the side. Don't get me wrong. But I feel like...
you're saying with Jonathan doing other movies outside the Marvel.
And I think people are just kind of like, all right. It makes you get used to seeing the person. And it's kind of hard nowadays for people to separate the person and the villain in a sense. Because it's like, oh, we keep seeing this guy in every trailer. Then it doesn't help, like, when he has movies out, he's in every single trailer. Then we're getting ready. And I'm not saying that's the case this time. I'm just saying there's been a lot of him being shown. Like, where's the mystery? But I can use this person because he was a bit Thanos. How much stuff did you really see Josh Brolin in the rollout of Thanos coming out? Not too many projects. And I know, like, Jonathan is popular right now. You got to strike while the iron is hot. I'm not saying anything against that at all. But I think the main thing that's helping this movie the most could possibly hurt it. Because he can't, like you said, just save it on his own.
Look, Kang as a big bad in the current state of this MCU, I do not think can do it by himself. That's not a shot at Jonathan Majors. I think he's amazing at what he's doing, what he has done so far. I just don't. Right now, I don't see it. By the time we get to Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars, it may be totally different. But as of right now,
we want to see that.
But I don't know if I said it on camera in another video. I know me and you talked about it. But when we first heard that Kang was going to be the big bad of this next couple of phases, I didn't see it. I didn't. I said he needed some help. Like, he cannot be just the sole big bad of a phase like Thanos was.
I just don't.
Not with because you don't have an Iron Man. You don't have a Captain America. You don't have some of the bigger, more known, star-studded characters, actors to help. And Jonathan Majors is as good as he is. He cannot carry this franchise by himself, and that's not a knock. I'm trying to make that perfect. That's not a knock on him.
Yeah,
I just don't think that he can carry it by himself.
And to segue from what you're saying, prime example, Iron Man. There's a reason why at a certain point, Robert Downey decided by the third movie, I need help. I'm not doing this by myself no more. And a lot of it probably was just because of physical aspects of the movie. But there's no reason why we couldn't have Iron Man 3 or Captain America Civil War. That is exactly what this movie should have been. Yeah. Captain America Civil War. We should have had a crossover between, you got Ant-Man, you got Hope, you got everybody. Cross that over into Loki. I promise you it would have made way more sense. Yeah. Because Ant-Man has never met Loki. It would have been a really nice dynamic. Loki is very witty and funny. Ant-Man, Paul Rudd's character
And
knows
have
how
that
to throw
lead
jokes.
into season 2 of Loki.
And let it lead into season 2 because
I'm
I
cool
would have
with that.
rather you have done that and then possibly flipped the end credit scenes.
Yeah.
Started with that second one and ended out with the first one.
Yeah.
Because they normally do that when it's a new restart to the franchise, like another phase. You'll always get that no nonsense end credit scene. You're like, what the heck was that? And they literally could have done that and it would have been fine.
Yeah, and to piggyback on what you're saying, Paul Rudd, Evangeline Lilly, this whole cast deserved their own third movie.
And I love that.
But if you're gonna make it an Ant-Man movie, make it an Ant-Man movie. I understand you have to develop and you had to give, they were hell-bent on giving us direction. I just feel like you could have given us an Ant-Man movie and sprinkled in the direction with the post-credit scenes.
Yeah.
Which you technically did. Like, you kind of... I'm not saying this movie was a waste. I'm just saying that it didn't feel like an Ant-Man movie.
Honestly, I say for me, after watching the second one, it was a little more off base from the other two Ant-Man movies, but I do kind of feel like it was an Ant-Man movie, especially with a lot of stuff that happened, like the ants overpowering Kang.
I mean, yeah, it had those moments, but what it was just too... I don't know. It was
all over the place, or
I don't know. It was too... I want to say it was too Kang focused. It wasn't...
But it definitely was.
It didn't have okay, this basically how I feel about this movie. This movie was an Ant-Man movie, but the plot was for Secret Wars. The plot was for Kang Dynasty. It didn't have an Ant-Man plot. I would have loved to have an Ant-Man, like, a plot.
Yeah, because the main basis was just him trying to protect Cassie.
Like, come on, man. I get that. I mean...
It's basically like that aspect of, we know what y'all came to see, but we gonna throw a little something in the front, and then we gonna get straight to it.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. We know y'all here for Kang, but let's just sprinkle a little storyline. I love the Janet and Kang storyline a lot. I feel like we could have stretched that a little bit more. I get why they probably didn't, but you definitely could have took out how long it took Janet to even tell us about why she never told them about Kang to begin with. Stretch that storyline out and cut her prolonging this. And when she got to why, I'm like, girl, you could have been told us that.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Marvel is Marvel right now. I don't know what they have going on. They have an incredible roster of actors. They have an incredible roster of characters. They have good source material with the comics and movie canon that they have already done. I don't know. I don't know what they have going on. I don't know what's going on. I don't know how much Disney is influencing the decisions that they're making. I don't know.
I'm kind of nervous.
Y'all let me know.
I'm kind of nervous for Loki season 2 because Loki is definitely one of those shows. It's so complex that it's very easy to get off task.
Yeah, but yeah, like I don't know.
I feel like the banter between Jonathan and the character that plays Loki, his name is slipping my mind. I think that's gonna be the best part. Tom Hiddleston. I'm not saying that I feel like Loki season 2 is going to be bad at all. I'm looking forward to that. But on the flip side to it, looking at the negative part that could possibly happen, the best part could possibly be the banter between those two. Mm-hmm. And that shouldn't just be the only aspect of that season.
Yeah. I don't know, man. But if y'all have went to go see this movie, when you guys go see the movie, which I'm hoping you watched the movie before you clicked on our somewhat spoiler review of the movie.
Yeah.
Give me some hope, man. If you
hope, man,
give me something, man. Talk, comment, talk me out of how I'm feeling right now. Give me some hopium. I need something. It ain't as bad as it seems. I'm worried about Marvel right now. The movie part of it. The TV shows have been good, but the movies, like, I was super hyped for Spider-Man. Other than the other Spider-Man
fan catering, it did.
I mean, and don't even get me started on Doctor Strange. That shit was trash to me. but this is the third movie I've been super hyped for, and it has let me down. Like,
would I watch this movie again? We were discussing this in the car. He said no. I would watch this movie again for the simple fact of I just like watching films and figuring out where you went wrong. With me saying that, I have not watched Eternals again. I don't feel like I need to try to dissect it to see where.
Was this movie better than Eternals?
Ooh,
I don't think so.
I say it was.
I don't think this movie was better than Eternals.
I say it's better than Eternals because there are parts in this movie, like I said, with Janet and Kang having their moments that was really nice to see how that came about. It's just different. It's not the movie as a whole. There are scenes that make me feel like it's a better watch than Eternals.
Okay. I got you. I can agree with that. I got you.
But I wouldn't like collectively as a whole with this movie. No.
I think Eternals was better paced. I think, like you said,
it meshed better.
This movie had better scenes that you can just pick out and be like, okay.
Eternals meshed better, even though some of the stuff in that movie was kind of like lost plot line.
Yeah, and I don't think Eternals was just a bad movie like everybody else. I referenced that because that's what a lot of people say is like one of the worst MCU
And I just
movies.
thought about at the beginning of this movie, like the first little maybe 20 minutes, it was such empty space going on with the script. Like it was such one-liners, like one sentence. I don't know. It was empty space, and I'm watching it and I'm cringing. I'm like, we could put some more here. We can add some more lines here. I don't know.
So yeah, man, that's our, I guess, spoiler review of Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. Let us know what y'all thought about it, man, and be honest.
Are we overthinking it?
Yeah, if we're overthinking it, let us know, man, because I don't know.
I don't feel like the movie was trash. I just feel like it was very empty. So
I don't know what
I love Jonathan Majors. He did great. That's all I got. Other than everything else I just said.
I mean, he did good, but did he do good enough to make you feel like he could have when you seen Jonathan Majors, you seen Kang Dynasty, you seen Secret Wars, that's what all of this stuff is leading up to. Do you feel like, based off this movie right here, okay, I just gave myself some hope because as I'm saying that, I'm thinking about it. All right, when we first seen Thanos and we kind of figured everything was leading up to Infinity War, if you go back to the first time we seen Thanos in this current state of the MCU, CGI was bad. His base, a lot of people reference how his first initial sightings of him, even though they weren't, they were hearing it far and in between, they wasn't really, okay, that's just Thanos, blah, blah, blah. By the time we got to Infinity War, Thanos was Thanos. I'm hoping that's what they're trying to do with Kang.
But they're showing much of him so soon. That's the aspect that's messing it up.
Exactly.
And that's the difference between.
But you have to, based off of who he is. You can't just.
But do you really?
You do.
Because we literally been hearing about him since we've been hearing about him in Moon Knight. We've been hearing about him in Loki. We've been hearing about him a little bit before Loki. People wanting. I hope because we were two of them. They better show Kang in the last episode. It's like when you ask for something so much and you get so many pieces and breadcrumbs to it, and now we're getting to the movie and we're seeing it it's like overkill at a certain point. And I mean that with no disrespect at all. I feel like with this type of big bad, you definitely can still stretch him out like you did Thanos because there's so many variants of him. That's the difference. The simplicity of Thanos, we didn't see him that often, but we knew it was coming. It's like that anticipation of, when he gonna show up? When he gonna show up? When the Russo brothers announced that they were doing part 1 and part 2, and they had Infinity War, and they didn't let it be known what the other Endgame was. It was an anticipation because that's just one man. This big 7 foot, 8 foot purple guy, muscle bound. The moment the movie came on, Infinity War, they got straight to it. We literally watched Thanos beat Hulk's ass. This is Hulk. And we're not getting that same aspect with Jonathan's character because he's not some big purple alien. But that's why it's a little bit more, it's like, you could have been a little bit more sneakier with this character, this villain, and his approach, since he's so cerebral and in the mind, and you kill him and he's coming right back.
Yeah.
It's damn near Joker-esque, and I'm not talking about the Heath Ledger Joker. It's damn near like Riddler, in a sense. Like the jokey, the vibe of it to me. Because it's like, I want to feel like the Joker is coming, not like the Riddler is coming. Because I feel like at some point we can defeat the Riddler. Like that, it's the Riddler.
Okay, I see what you're saying. I got you.
I want to feel like this is a cat and mouse game. This is a back and forth, a little sneakier. And I get it. This variant, he's straight to the point. I love that a lot. It was a lot of one-worded answers. It was a lot of yes, no. It's what I say so. I'm just hoping as we go on, it's a little bit more of a mystery.
Yeah. Don't base these next phases off time travel and Jonathan Majors. That's basically,
I still have hope. In Marvel.
Because they've
it's just hard to tell right now.
They go in the cycle. They go up and then they go down.
But it's the same thing when they first started with all of this. Like the first Iron Man, nobody knew where this was going until it got going.
Yeah, but yeah, man. That was our spoiler review or reaction to Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. Yeah, man.
Yeah, let us know if you guys plan on going to go see the movie. Have you watched reviews and have the reviews steered you away from even wanting to see it at all? Do you feel like we're overreacting as far as what we're discussing? Do you feel like Marvel knows what they're doing? Are you kind of scared or a little, I don't know, on the fence about it? Let us know in the comments. Make sure you subscribe to our channel, like our page, comment again if you commented one time, and turn on that post bell notification whenever we post or when we decide to go live in the future. With that being said, you guys, we do this for the culture. We love Marvel. We'll go see anything for you guys so you don't have to waste your money, or maybe you do want to. It doesn't matter. But until next time.
All right, man. I'll let y'all.
Peace.